So, the first period we're going to talk about tonight is the Age of Fairy Tales. And the reason it's called the Age of Fairy Tales is because by the time we get to Kingdom Hearts 1 over here, all of this is just a foggy memory. There's a really long period, I think a couple hundred years is what most people say, has happened between all this mess and Kingdom Hearts. And basically, by the time we get to Kingdom Hearts, it's all a fairy tale. And in fact, that fairy tale is told in the original Kingdom Hearts, and I feel it needs to be told here. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to our game screen, and I'm going to read you the beginning of this fairy tale. This is from Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm not going to say, who read it or who it was read to or anything, because I want to keep this generally spoiler-free. There might be a little nitpick here or there that I need to talk about in order to make coherent sense, but for the most part, I really do want to keep this. If you're new to this game series and you're just kind of wondering what the crud's going on, I want to keep it, point to point to point to point throughout the timeline. That being said, I will have to talk about things like when we get to Birth by Sleep at the end, there's going to be a scene that shows a whole bunch of different people from throughout the story, and I am going to have to mention a couple things, but we'll cross those bridges when we get to them. Alright. So this was a fairy tale read in Kingdom Hearts 1. Long ago, people lived in peace, bathed in the warmth of light. Everyone loved the life. Then people began to fight over it. They wanted to keep it for themselves, and darkness was born in their hearts. The darkness spread, swallowing the light in many people's hearts. It covered everything, and the world disappeared. But small fragments of light survived in the hearts of children. With these fragments of light, children rebuilt the lost world. It is the world we live in now. But the true light sleeps deep within the darkness. That's why the worlds are still scattered, divided from each other. But someday, a door to the innermost darkness will open, and the true light will return. So listen, child. Even in the deepest darkness, there will always be a light to guide you. Believe in the light, and the darkness will never defeat you. Your heart will shine with its power and push the darkness away. So that is the fairy tale that's told in Kingdom Hearts 1. And this, Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, the X is a Greek letter, not an X. It's pronounced key. That'll be important a little later down the road. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. So this story is about that fairy tale. In fact, it's the point just before the world is shattered, and what has gone on to cause this to happen. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you the HD cinematics for Kingdom Hearts Key back cover. So what's happening here is we're seeing footage from the mobile game, and we're seeing some things told by Chirithy, who we'll be introduced to in a little while. This is Kingdom Hearts Key, the mobile game. It originally started on Facebook, and it was ported to phones. It follows a Keyblade wielder, I should say. Let's use proper terminology. A Keyblade wielder who is your own custom one, so it's not necessarily tied to this guy here, who you can see on screen. It's whoever you customize him to be. And he is fighting in a union, so one of 5, and we'll meet the leaders of the union in a little bit, who is going around to the different portions of the world, which are based on Disney. Remember, the world is one combined thing at this point. So we're going out and gathering lights in order to prevent a coming darkness. And what we'll see here is sort of that process becoming slowly undone. And we'll see sort of what the ideas were that brought about the collapse. So, this intro is a little bit long, but we'll be getting into the actual scene here. But at least this way we get a nice little taste of what the aesthetic of the mobile game was. We see a couple cutscenes here, sort of what goes on. And a lot of this I will talk about after the cutscenes are over. I've got some pictures and stuff where we can talk about what happens in this game and how it relates to these scenes we're watching here. Alright, here we go. Kingdom Hearts key back cover. Alright, so this is going to be... We're going to see a number of things presented as cases. This is the first one, in the case of Luxu. And each one is going to be one of this guy's apprentices.
So that makes you the indisposable number 7.
Each one of his apprentices is going to be assigned a different role.
U6 plus me is 7. Wait, don't tell me I don't count.
He's also one of my favorite characters at this point.
Here, take it.
In the Master's playful and mischievous way,
this Keyblade a lot.
He gave his apprentice Luxu a very important role. What seemed like a simple task was the element that would connect all of the events to come.
This is Cherith speaking, and I've always thought it sounds a lot like the voice actress
long ago,
Kari from Digimon.
All the worlds were still
I don't
one.
think it actually is. I think I've looked this up, but
one day,
it sounds very close.
This would be called the Age of Fairy Tales.
Yeah.
It all began here in Daybreak Town. The Master of Masters had an eye that gazes into the future. He bestowed upon 5 of his 6 apprentices a copy of the Book of Prophecies, in which was written the events to come.
The 6th who did not receive the page was Luxu, who we just saw. That'll be important. I believe this is the case of Ira. Yes, it is.
So, did you look through the book?
Yes, but I'm still analyzing it.
Wow, no quick skim for you, huh?
I just prefer to be thorough. Master, is what it says in the last passage true?
Oh yeah, that. Bummer, huh?
Yes.
By the way, if one day I suddenly disappear, I'm counting on you to keep the others calm, okay?
Huh? Disappear?
Vanish? Dim? Fade? I don't know how to explain it. It's just hypothetical talk.
Okay.
Very specific hypothetical talk.
This world is full of light. It's a world comprised of many smaller worlds, all connected, stretching as far as the eye can see. One great light protects us all throughout this vast land. All worlds share one light, one fate.
I take it you're talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Yep, you're right on the money. People believe that the light that is Kingdom Hearts will be here forever. But if it were to disappear, the world would be enveloped in darkness.
I understand. That is why you granted us these Keyblades. With these we can spread the teachings of light. And we can protect Kingdom Hearts from darkness.
No, they're not for protecting Kingdom Hearts.
Huh?
The final passage reads, "On that fated land, a great war shall transpire. Darkness will prevail, and the light expire."
Isn't it our duty as Keyblade wielders to prevent this war from taking place?
Not possible.
What?
You really think you can change the future?
Then, what do you want us to do?
We have to focus on what comes after. There's no use thinking of ways to change events that we know are gonna happen.
But what about all of those who are here now? And the ones who will be here when the darkness finally comes? Are we to abandon all of them?
Come on, are you telling me that you think the world can be saved by just 7 people?
We have to at least try. With enough Keyblade wielders, we could...
Well, if you want to give it a shot.
Yes.
Alrighty, good luck.
So already we see that the Master believes that this is a fate that can't be
And so the
prevented,
reliable
but
Ira,
wants to
who
fight
wore the
back
mask
against
of the
it.
unicorn, was given his role to take over for the Master and to lead the others. Similarly, the virtuous Envy, who wore the mask of the snake, was given her role to watch over the others with a fair eye. The fearless Aced, who wore the mask of the bear, was given his role to support their brand new leader, Ira. The prudent Ava, who wore the mask of the fox, was given her role to prepare exceptional Keyblade wielders for the world after. The cool-headed Gula, who wore the mask of the leopard, was given his role to uncover the mystery of the Book of Prophecies.
Now, to note, these roles aren't
Lushu,
necessarily
the first
discussed
of the
among
apprentices
the
to be given
apprentices,
their role,
so they don't know
watched
exactly
his
what
companions from
roles
afar
each
as they
other
learned
has.
what it was that they were meant to do. Then, he disappeared. Not long after that, the Master vanished, dimmed, and faded without a trace.
This is meant to be you, as a character in Kingdom Hearts Key.
This is where your story began. The story of your very own adventure. 5 of the Master's apprentices armed themselves with the Book of Prophecies. They each created a union. This would fulfill his wishes. Then, they set out to rally Keyblade wielders just like you. By defeating Heartless, the monsters of darkness, they would gather light.
Alright, so that's the introduction to everything. Now we're getting into what's transpiring between the 5 of them.
There's a traitor among us.
Are you certain? What proof do you have?
I found this sniffing around.
Is that a dark Cherothy? Is that a nightmare?
In the mobile game, you do encounter a dark Cherothy who is causing trouble and creating Heartless.
Master, did you make this? It's so cute!
Well, things are gonna get pretty hectic around here soon. But this spirit Cherothy is gonna make your lives much easier. Hopefully.
Spirit?
You could say they're like cats or dogs.
If these are creatures
And
known
they'll
as
be your
Dream
loyal
Eaters who will
pets.
meet in Dream Drop
Every
Distance,
wielder will have one of these
but there
adorable
are
little guys at their
2 different
side.
kinds:
They're here to help.
nightmares and
so play
spirits.
nice.
Okay.
Oh, right.
They don't exactly
Before I forget,
talk about that distinction right here.
if a wielder is overcome
But-
by malice, or rather if their heart is tainted by darkness, their adorable little spirit will turn dark and become a nightmare.
So you're telling us that if we see a nightmare...
Someone has fallen into darkness.
Exactly. And if you don't stop this renegade spirit, It'll plant darkness in the hearts of others. And you'll have an army of nightmares on your hands. Beware.
So, if we see one of these nightmares anywhere, we have to get rid of it on the spot.
No! I won't let you do that!
No wonder you ended up as the bear. You're scary.
Your point?
Maybe you can growl at them.
Don't insult me!
Come on, Hassan.
A little slow on the uptake, huh?
Unless you try.
Please tell me you're joking.
Ased takes his work a little
It's
too
not me.
seriously.
There's an easy way to solve this. If we all summon our spirits, then we'll know.
Unfortunately, there are countless wielders in our unions. It would be easy for any of us to summon a Chirithy that isn't a nightmare. I'm afraid that your suggestion wouldn't help us get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, in that case, who's to say that the nightmare you saw belongs to one of us? It could belong to anyone in our unions.
That's highly unlikely. Do you recall the tool the wielders were given in order to make them stronger? We generally don't concern ourselves with what they have at their disposal. However,
This is an item you gain within the story of
I believe those
Unchained Key.
tools were the
They're
nightmare's doing.
Bangles that allow you
The
to
bangles? I know when they're
gather
equipped,
what they're called.
they have the power to
I
collect
think
dark
they call
energy.
it grief.
But I thought we all agreed that was
But-
okay.
Yeah, like
Collecting
you said,
is
it's
fine.
dark energy.
But using that power is the equivalent of using the power of darkness.
And these were being distributed by a dark
It's a
Chirithy.
brilliant plan. Everyone knows that all spirits look the same, and wielders exist in spades. There's no way to tell.
Oh no. Everyone's already equipped their bangles.
So what now? How do we find out who's behind this?
Seeing as those bangles couldn't have been acquired by just anyone, I believe it's one of us here in this room.
No, Ira. I respectfully disagree. What proof do we have that the bangles are tied to the power of darkness, or if a nightmare is to blame? We shouldn't simply jump to conclusions.
Ira, some leader you are. You've managed to plant seeds of doubt in all of us with that speech. What, did you expect the traitor to give themselves up with that accusation of yours? That was foolish.
Ased, that's quite enough.
It looks to me like the Master made the wrong choice.
Wait, where do you think you're
So
going?
we're already starting to see this the splintering of
I think we're done here. I trust you'll keep us all updated.
I hope we can all resolve this soon.
That didn't go as expected.
What's wrong, Ira? This isn't like you.
A lost page. Something's missing from our book of prophecies. Each of our copies were said to contain the events of the future. But this incident, well, it's nowhere to be found.
And how does this whole thing with the traitor tie together?
Like I said, it's nowhere to be found. In my book.
Ira, are you implying that someone is in possession of the missing page? And the person with the complete book is the traitor?
There is something going on, and a page is suspiciously missing from the book. It's not so far-fetched to assume that the one who has the lost page has been turned, that they have fallen into the hands of darkness. Trust me.
There seems to be no record of it in my book either. You may be onto something. I wonder, could this have been the Master's plan all along?
Did you note, since the
grant
final
the lost
page
page
was
to
up to
only
the
one of
Keyblade
us?
War, these books of prophecy
no way
only
of
know
knowing.
up to that point, or the point at the end of this cinematic.
The Master is gone.
I understand what you were saying. I promise to keep a close eye on the others. I will keep you informed, as always.
Thanks.
Of course. After all, That is what the Master asked of me. And Ira, may your heart be your guiding key.
Alright, so here we have the case of Envy. So we get to see more about what the
to
Master
sum it up,
gave her.
I'll need you to
as a
observe the
role.
others. Easy breezy.
All right.
Like I said, Ira may have to take over for me. But don't be shy. Just be fair. And do not be afraid to speak up. Even though I say observe, you'll need to be the mediator. Make sure people get along.
I understand. But without you or Luciu, to form and maintain our own unions is... it's a little unnerving, to be honest.
Oh, come on! Lighten up a little. Maybe I'll never disappear. Wait, do you want me to go?
What? No, of course not.
I was just kidding.
Oh, I see.
Look, I get that change can be hard for everyone, but things need to keep moving forward. And you need to keep up. Otherwise, you'll just get left behind, all alone. Now that you know what the future holds, Envy, what does your heart say? May your heart be your guiding key. I say it all the time. You ultimately need to do what your heart feels is right.
Right.
Now, he gives this instruction to each one of his pupils in that he gives them very
I was wrong about Ira.
loose guidelines. on
I
what to
thought he
do,
would
it
make a
seems.
great leader, but he let me down. Well, what do you two think? You don't believe what Ira said, do you?
Of course not. His argument was unconvincing. It's like Envy said. He's just making baseless assumptions given the situation. There's no evidence to tie his accusations to anyone, let alone one of us.
Maybe there's something he hasn't told us.
And he needs to tell us. How dare he look at us with suspicion? We're his comrades.
I wouldn't call us comrades. Anyway, could you get to the point? I know you didn't call us here just to complain.
I want the three of us to form an alliance.
But alliances are forbidden, us said.
I knew it. I had a feeling it would come to this. So,
So I
we
want to
join
point out
forces,
is
then
that
confront
there
Ira?
are 5
Confronting
remaining
him is
apprentices.
pointless. Ira won't change his mind.
So, possibly the reason that
I know there's
alliances
darkness
were
at work.
forbidden
There's
was
no question.
that they would never
But
be even.
I don't believe for a second there's a traitor among us. Unfortunately, Ira doesn't share the same belief. He's just wasting time trying to figure out who the traitor is. But darkness won't wait, and neither should we. We need to band together now and find a way to fight it.
Guess it makes sense.
I agree that we need to do something to fight the darkness. But combining our unions? That was strictly forbidden by the Master.
He's no longer here.
I'm in. But let's be clear. The alliance is just between the two of us right now. I don't want my union members involved.
Gula! I want to follow the Master's teachings.
Understood. That's your choice to make. You should do whatever you feel is right.
Yeah.
By the way, Ased, do Ira and Envy know?
I haven't talked to Ira about it for obvious reasons, but I did ask Envy to join us.
You wanted to see me? Gula, Ava, what are you doing here? What's the meaning of this?
Hear me out, Envy. I want an alliance among our unions. Gula here has already agreed. Will you join us? and together we can—
And disobey the Master's teachings?
We don't have a choice! Darkness is approaching, and we need to combine our strength to stand against it.
The Master bestowed each of us with a different role, and he specifically told us to keep our union separate, to maintain the balance of power. He told us that any imbalance would lead to a desire for more power, which leads to darkness. I know you haven't forgotten. Perhaps it's you who has been tainted by darkness.
I'm tainted by darkness? Then what about you, Envy? You spy on us and report everything you see back to Era. You really think you have no darkness in your heart after what you did?
Because that is my role.
To observe us, yes, but not to disclose everything we say and do to Era.
That's...
For all we know, you and Era could be allies, scheming behind our backs.
That's enough.
We're gonna find out a little bit more about Sid's character here in a bit. But I should mention that Era is the leader. And so Envy is perfectly within her right to talk with Era
When will it
about
stop?
everything.
I don't want us to turn against each
More,
other.
that is her role, is to keep an eye on everyone and
Master Alva.
help the leader. Now here we see Ephemer,
Hello. Your name is Ephemer, right?
Uh-huh.
however you say it.
Hey, can I join you?
This is a character who's much more prominent in the mobile game. He becomes sort of
Why the long face?
goal
Did something happen?
during the mobile title, where shortly after this he will disappear, and
Do you
you and
remember what you asked me
another
before?
wielder named Skuld
About why the unions compete against each other instead
join
of
up
working
to
together.
find out where he's gone to. We'll talk a little bit after
Actually,
this.
I always wondered the same thing.
Huh? Isn't it just because the Master said so?
Yes. And as such, we must obey. The Master said so. So it is. Lately, I've really started to wonder. You once told me that you were looking for answers. That you wanted to solve the mysteries of this world. Well, I think that's how things should be. We need to question things and think for ourselves.
Whoa! You are really not yourself today. I guess even Fortellers have their off days. Hey, maybe talking about the book will cheer you up.
Not a
Just
chance.
having having an off day, level halved.
You were trying to
I'm
pull a
sad I
fast
don't
one on
have
me.
a way
Weren't
to
you?
capture 358 from
No,
the DS.
no, I was
so we could
joking.
see my favorite
you
line
say
of all
so.
time: Roxas is having an off day,
But
level halved.
To be honest, I think it would be great if all the unions could work together and be friends.
You know, I made a friend from another union today.
That's referring to the player character.
Wasn't much of a talker. Maybe just shy. We're meeting again tomorrow.
That sounds like so much fun. Then you'd better go home and get some sleep.
Okay.
Ephemer never shows
it was
up
nice
to that
talking
meeting,
to you.
which prompts you
I don't
to
know
go
what's
look
got you
for
down.
him.
But please cheer up.
Thank you. If the worst happens, I'll be glad to leave the future to the kids who see the world in the way that you do. Let the wind carry you far, far away. My dandelions.
Now, we're going to hear a little bit about here, but just for clarification, the Dandelions are a group of Keyblade wielders
Envy.
that
Have you
Master
learned
Alva
something?
hand selects
It seems
to
Ased and
survive
Gula's
the
unions
Keyblade
are now
War
allied.
and
So Ased is the traitor after all.
to become the
No, I don't
the
believe he
light
is.
after the
Why is
darkness,
that?
basically.
To Ased, unification is a means of gathering strength to oppose the darkness. So I believe his heart still belongs to the light.
Even so, forming alliances was strictly forbidden by the Master.
Yes, and his teachings are absolute. That's why I will try and persuade Gula to dissolve their alliance.
Then I'll do it.
No, Please, let me do the talking. Your intervention will do nothing more than spur Ased's anger.
All right. I'll leave it to you.
And one more thing. Ased has begun to question the two of us. As a precaution, my reports will be less frequent. I don't want him to get the wrong idea. Please understand.
Yes, I do.